You do have a shiny forehead. We're still going live. We're live.
Yay! Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Very shiny forehead. I'm very sorry. I don't know why.
I don't think it looks that shiny. I think we're both starting to look brown from the summer, so all is good.
The summer that has been what 24
hours.
No,
This is the second summer. We had a summer about 3 weeks ago, didn't we, for a long weekend? And then it went cold and miserable and rained again.
And now it's back.
And now it's back. So this is summer part 2.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Ask an Expert. If you have never joined us before, my name's Emily. This is Alan. Say hello, Alan.
Hello.
And we are both halves of the Outside
I nearly
Guide.
did a proper 80s joke then. When you said say hello, Alan, I nearly went hello, Alan. The fact I'm talking about what I nearly did, I think is worse than if I'd actually done it. Sorry.
Anyhow,
so this is Ask an Expert number 62.
Number 62. Where has that come from?
Where has that? Where has that?
This just appeared out of nowhere.
No, it has. It has. I mean, it still feels bizarre, but we had Christmas off. Actually, I still can't believe. It feels like we shouldn't be this far away.
So, as always, if you're watching live on YouTube, a big welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you have any burning questions about your outdoor wedding planning, it might be big, it might be small, it might be, I don't know how to.
I do think sometimes, because we write that. No, I did. I'm sorry. I'm agreeing with you though. But sometimes we go, ask us anything, and actually, I think that's too broad. Like it literally could be, you know.
We've had how do you fluff up a paper pom-pom, up to how do I lay out a field, where do I put cars, how do I deal with family members who are a bit of a pickle. Yeah, we've had everything.
What do we have the other week? Well, I've got 4 months to go. What should I be doing?
Yeah, what do I put in my marquee if I'm having a marquee? What kind of time frames should I be looking at? Anything at all.
Yeah.
How long
do I have the bouncy castle for? We've had before.
Bouncy castle.
Yes. So any questions at all? And actually, we say this like yes, this is tailored towards brides and grooms and couples getting married. But even if you're a supplier and you're new to the industry, or you're not new and you've just got a bit of a question but you think could benefit everyone, then please do ask away.
So anyway, welcome. If you are watching live or you're watching on YouTube today, if you'd love to give us a thumbs up, that'd be amazing. We always appreciate a thumbs up. And of course, down here below here, if you're watching on playback, I don't think it's on whilst we're live.
Yeah, no, it's not. Basically, yeah, subscribe to the channel, please.
Subscribe button down below. We'd absolutely love that.
And feel free to chat, because we will do this live. It does create its own kind of chat stream. So, if you are watching, don't start that, because we're both talking. We'll have a domestic on camera. And if you are watching, please do say hello.
If you're watching, or if you're listening even on podcast this evening, good evening to you all on podcast. We hope you're well wherever you are listening. What do they do on podcast, Alan?
If you're listening on SoundCloud, we have loads of listeners on SoundCloud, bizarrely. SoundCloud's huge, did you know? Then give us a heart, give us a love. Feel free to follow us on SoundCloud. If you're listening on podcasts on iTunes, mainly is where we're at, then please do leave us a rating and a review. That would be truly appreciated. Thank you very much. And share. No, do you know what? None of that. If you like what we talk about and you like what we say with outdoor weddings, then please tell a friend. That's what I'm asking tonight. Tell a friend and invite them along.
Right, so what are we talking about this evening?
We got 3 things. I did a quick live into the Outside Bride group a couple of hours ago. We've got 3 main things tonight. We've got the launch of an exciting competition. We've got some tickets to give away to a outdoor wedding. I went blank. I was torn between festival and outdoor wedding. That's why I got confused. So an outdoor wedding festival, wedding fair, that's coming up Easter weekend. So we've got 2 tickets to give away from that. So we're launching that. We're going to tell you a bit more about that.
The event's not on Easter weekend. It's the weekend after, darling. It's 27th.
Big sigh. Anyway, anyone who's listening, I sighed. I dropped my shoulders. Easter's this weekend.
Easter is this weekend. It's the weekend after.
Parents, you'll get me. And
don't play the parent card.
No. I was just going to say, we love our kids. We love them being home for Easter. But it's fair to say,
look forward to school time.
No. I don't look forward to school time. Due to sickness and illness, this one's been a little bit tough, and I feel like I'm paying the price for it. That's all. I won't say anything else about being a parent, apart from I love it. So yeah, next weekend after Easter. So we're going to tell you a bit more about that, and we're launching that tomorrow morning. I've just pretty much done it all, haven't I? Apart from saying where it is and what it's called.
Yeah, we'll go back to that.
We'll come back to that. Then we're going to talk about the planning sessions, which we've is basically Emily and I. We like to think we know a lot about outdoor weddings.
I hope so. It's what we do for a living.
It is what we do for a living. We have a couple of businesses based all around outdoor weddings, which we've been doing for 7 years, which is on top of everything we did before that. And we basically put everything we know down into a course for brides getting married called the planning sessions. Yeah. And the planning sessions is £121 for all 6 modules. It's 6 parts. And we're giving module 1 away for free at the moment, aren't we?
We are indeed.
Why are you smiling?
Let's make sure you got your prices right then as well.
I checked earlier. I know
this is flashing numbers out.
No.
The planning sessions, and we talk about this quite a lot at the moment because it is a labour of love for us. We have put
it's not only is it labour love. It's just, I know the benefits to the couples getting married. I mean. Yeah.
It really has been designed with you guys in mind, because we know for a fact that, well, it's such a minefield getting married. There's so much to consider, and a lot of you guys, especially you outside brides, are doing this for the first time by yourselves without the use of potentially a wedding planner to help guide and steer you. So for you to go into this, especially if you're not an event planner by trade, it's a lot to think about and a lot to make sure that you've got right. And if you don't get it right on the day, there's no going back, because you only get married on that one day. You can't redo the next day. Although that'd be amazing, couldn't you? Just redo it for the entire weekend. So the plan.
Whatever. Right, keep going.
The planning sessions really does steer you into what kind of things you should be thinking about. As Alan said, we've broken it down to make sure that everything that we know in our heads as outdoor wedding planners and specialists, we have given you the structure to make sure that these conversations you're thinking about in your head. So, for example, working with suppliers, working with contracts, what you should be looking for in your contracts when you're dealing with suppliers, thinking about access, thinking about finding the perfect location, what to do with bad weather, and if things go wrong or things change at last minute, how you can cope with that, putting things into an organisational structure that you are really ready to hit the ground running on the day of your wedding, so that your tribe, your squad, your family, whoever's helping you, they know what they're doing on the day of it. We're actually helping with a friend's wedding at the weekend. And
this was only the introduction. And
I know, and I get passionate about
we haven't done the third.
We'll get there in a minute to the third one. But really,
hope you're all like staying in tune with what
it's making sure that you guys have the best framework to make sure that you don't miss a trick at all. So
no, I was just
so
basically
the whole course which we've put together for you guys, which is all delivered like this over video, and there's some worksheets and there's some blog posts and stuff in it. Each single section, of course, is broken down in the right chronological order for how you would be organising outdoor weddings. So the first module, which is what we're talking about today, is all about getting your ship in order, getting your thoughts together, your feelings, your ideas about your wedding, getting your people together, getting your timeline together, thinking about when to engage with certain suppliers, all of that kind of structure that you need from the very beginning, which is not the boring stuff, but it's the practical stuff that you have to get in place first before you can start with all the fun stuff, which is the planning of decorations.
I've got an analogy. Yep. So if you were going to build a boat, module 1 is all about designing that boat and how you're going to do it and where you're going to get the stuff from and all these other bits.
Why would you be designing a boat, Anna? Where's that?
It's an analogy. It doesn't matter. Isn't that the point of an analogy? It's a random example that loosely fits the example.
Why would it be like a car?
Because I think people are more likely to build a boat than they are a car. Right. If you've ever built a boat but not a car.
Little eyes.
I'm just look. My eyes are. I'm sleeping well at the moment. Podcasters, it's fair to say that if you're bored one day, come and find us on YouTube, and you can see the size of the bags under my eyes.
Mine aren't any better.
And how narrow they are.
Mine aren't any better.
I'm sorry. I don't know why. I didn't even have a tough paper round. I had a pretty cushy paper. I only did the free paper on a Wednesday afternoon. I didn't do the early morning stuff.
Anyhow, so module 1 is that foundation to get you started. And we absolutely love the planning sessions, and we can see real value in why you guys should be taking it on board and learning from us and everything if you're doing it by yourselves. So we thought...
Sorry, just recap. We can see real value in our own course.
Of course.
Yeah, of
Of course we can, because we want you to make sure that you have the best day ever, because we love sharing your weddings at the end of this. We love seeing your photographs.
We do.
We love putting
We
yourself
do.
in the blog.
All jokes apart, we love it.
We
love
do.
it. We love it.
It's our real passion, and it's what we talk about literally from the time we wake up in the morning at 4:30, 5 o'clock, depending on what time.
Whatever. That might be time what I get up. You don't.
till the time we go to bed. We literally talk about it all day, every day.
Yes.
The module 1 is available for you for free, because we're jolly nice people like that.
Well, we thought the season was ramping up.
Yeah.
You know, there will be couples who have gone, do you know what? Great Britain's quite nice when the sun's shining.
And any other part of the world.
Yeah. Forget this is all over the world. You know, it's kind of like, it's quite nice outside. Why don't we have an outdoor wedding? Where do we start? So we've had this conversation before. I wonder what the percentage of people who don't have an outdoor wedding is, because they think it's, excuse the terminology, too complicated, don't know where to start, you know, and any other version of those sorts of phrases. And I think there will be people like that. So that's why our course is here, because it's so rewarding having an outdoor wedding.
It's hard work. It is hard work.
But ridiculously, it's like, I was going to use another really bad analogy. I won't bother. But no, it's amazing. It's amazing. And that feeling of knowing you've crafted this wedding, this setup, whether you've had help or not, it doesn't matter, because it would have come from your thought processes. And you know, watching the sunset, or even on a beautiful day, perhaps it's gently raining.
Actually saying that, I'm just putting together tomorrow's blog, actually, which is going live the first thing in the morning, and it's an elopement at Mystic Beach in America. So it's a famous beach, and the day of it's an elopement. It's just the two of them with their photographer, and it's misty, rain, wet. But the photographs are so sensational, because at the end of it, they ran through a waterfall.
Oh, nice.
And they're just covered. And
I don't know if I'd have wanted to do that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they didn't really think about it. They were literally an hour before sunset, and they had an hour's hike to get back from the beach back to their car through the forest.
They didn't think how wet they were going to get when they ran through the waterfall.
No, well, they're already wet from the rain.
Oh, okay,
anyhow,
fair enough.
You'll see the photos tomorrow if you go on to the
I
blog.
look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yes.
So in order to get access to module 1, are we going to put the link in this video as well?
So I'm going to put the link in the video, but I'm also going to put the link on the blog post that I put Ask an Expert on. So there'll be that. And you know what? I can put it in SoundCloud and iTunes as well. So whether you're watching this on YouTube, listening through the blog post on SoundCloud or iTunes, the link to module 1 for free will be somewhere in the description.
And all you need to do that is to put your email address in and hit submit, and then there'll be an email in your inbox with a link to confirm that subscription to and with a code for you to get your first module.
Absolutely.
Which is awesome. We'd love to have you on board, because I really do think anyone who's getting married really does need to have that little bit of structure to start.
Well, it's free.
And it's free. Who doesn't like a freebie?
Yeah, I like free stuff.
Right.
So that was the introduction to the second thing we're talking about.
Sorry.
We've been on 13 minutes, and technically I still haven't introduced the 3 things.
It's like 8 out of 10 cats. By the time you've actually got halfway through the program, it's like near the end credits.
Okay, thumbs up if you like 8 out of 10 cats does count down. It does count down more than the actual 8 out of 10 cats. We quite like it. We quite like the stupidity. Anyway, sorry. The third thing we're going to talk about today is we are going to talk about laying out your outdoor wedding. So once again, the season is ramping up nice and gently, and we know a lot of our supplier pals out there are working very hard already. And so to help you and to help them, we just thought we'd talk a little bit about layouts. We're not going to go into masses of detail unless anyone has a specific question, but we are just going to talk about it a bit. Especially
if, and I use the example of a farmer's field as your event. You okay there, Alan? Just checking out your phone?
Yep.
When you have such a large, there are 2 sides to it. You can either have a very specific sized area that you're getting married. It might be a garden, it might be a back garden, it might be a manor house type with their outdoor space, and you have a very limited amount of space to deal with. Or you could be the other end of the spectrum, when you've got a farmer's field or a forest, and you've got so much space that you don't know what to do with. Now, the temptation on that side is to try and fill it as much as you can with so much stuff, because you don't want to feel too exposed, and you want, or sparse,
Spartan, that sort of, just too spread out.
After this,
I've got stuff to do.
But it's making sure that you don't need to go overboard with ramming stuff into that space, because it will things get lost in translation, and actually keeping people in one area, for example, with your marquee or a teepee and stuff around you, is actually quite nice, because then you have a vista to look at. You have a really nice view. You like the word vista?
I did. That was good use.
Yeah, thank you. Just enjoying that as a view rather than trying to feel it, because otherwise you'll literally just lose everything. You'll have a van over there, you might have a chill out space over there, you might have games over there, and it will just be too bitty.
It's like, almost think about it as kind of like, why am I coming up with rubbish analogies? It's relevant though. It's like a campfire circle, like a circle, and you just want things slowly building off of that, rather than spread out here, there, and everywhere. Because you're not trying to create. It's not Sim City. You're trying to create a city. You're just trying to create a hub of enjoyment and fun and love and happiness. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I was going to actually. No, sorry, I'll let you carry on.
Okay.
No, I know what I was going to say.
So things to consider when you're choosing how to lay things out for your wedding. Number one, consider your access points to your location. Is a massive one, because it's going to be the sunniest day of your life. It's going to be amazingly sunny and beautiful.
We only have sun on outdoor weddings.
Of course we do. Of course we do. But if you have to implement plan B on the day due to a wet weather plan or things like that, because it's changed, then you don't really want to be the other side of your location, away from the access gate. If you've got to get vehicles in, you've got to get suppliers in, you've got to get people in. People don't want to always traipse over muddy sort of puddles and stuff. So think about making sure that wherever you situate yourself, making sure that you're quite fairly close to either hard standing or the access gate, just so people can get on and off easily. Because the worst thing in the world would be to get all your cars on, to then find that you've got to get 50 cars off, towed by a tractor or someone else with a Land Rover. It's not great, is it?
No.
So next tips for layouts.
Well, what I thought I would do is jump to inside the tent. Now, we actually talked about this probably about a month ago now for one of our brides who asked this actual question. But and I think it's so important. And if it's one of those things, always, if you don't think about it, then you're just not gonna it's not gonna enter your head. But when you're laying out your structure in your head table, I always say think about what you want as the couple getting married, what you want to see and look at when you're on your head table. So if you've got a marquee with nice big panorama windows, then what you actually probably want, because ultimately it's up to you, is your table the furthest side away from the panorama windows, looking out, and then you would angle your marquee and those windows at what you want to see. So there's a vineyard up the road from us which we think is beautiful, and one of the places, they used to have marquees in a couple of places, and one of the places they used to have it is right down at the bottom of the vines, and it was probably only, I don't know, a metre from the edge of the marquee to the vines, but it was stunning. And so you would always make sure that were always panoramas. You'd make sure the back half was plain lights, and then behind that would be what we always call your working area, and then the table looked out, and then in the evening as dusk fell, that they have lights along the vines, and it looks stunning. And then your guests are then scattered, they're looking at you, they're looking out the window, and then at the other end of the marquee, you know, you have your dance area, canapes, whatever you want to do in your bar, to keep them in those two separate areas.
And what Alan just said about the working in is really important as well, because it doesn't matter what you're having and what you're doing, what style, if you're having a structure, you're not having a structure, if you're having catering on site, you're having street food vans coming in, you'll always have a working side of something on your site.
Or let's call it something else. The stuff you don't want in a picture.
There are things like generators,
toilets.
there are toilet blocks.
You might have a shower block if you're having a festival.
Toilet blocks are a funny one these days, especially when you can get so many fancy ones that are all styled and part of the decor anyway, but still, no one really wants your loo block in all your photographs right at the very front. So unless
you've got absolutely one of those gorgeous like steampunk type themed ones.
So think about access to your toilets is another one, because yes, you might want them further away from your prettiness, but think about great Auntie Flo who might have mobility issues and wanting to get back and forth to the toilet during the speeches and that kind of stuff. So making sure that's not too far away, making sure that the power source is close enough to whatever's being powered, and if things, plan B has to be put in place, maybe something happens to the generator, you want that to be quite close that you can go and grab that and sort that out straight away. Making sure that cabling from that generator, if you're using a generator, isn't too far apart. We discussed this a few weeks back when we were talking about getting 1 or 2 generators for your event because of the size and scale of your event for the weekend. If you've got 1 generator powering your entire field, and you've got a marquee, you've got lighting, you've got street food over there, you've got this over there, you've got a band over there, and it's all spread out, think about your cabling and where you're going to be powering things and how to get power to those locations. So really thinking about where you put things on your map as you're drawing it and planning it out is a really big one.
I would say on that, actually, it's probably worth always speaking to your structure company, because your structure company, this is alien for the majority of people in Great Britain. I apologise if you're doing a disservice, but we don't trust people generally we're giving money to provide us with a service. I think that's unfortunately fair to say. We try our hardest to not do that because we understand it, but it does happen. Right? It's just built into us as British people. I don't know why. So don't do it, everyone. And if you don't do it, then I apologise to the nation. Perhaps it is just us. However, work with them. Chances are they will happily work with you. And if you go, well, I need this, 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 and this, they may go, oh, well, we'll put a door in there for you, because that's what they will do. Or they go, well, why don't we angle it like this, because that will work better. Or why don't you have the bar here based on what you're telling me, Mr. Couple getting married, Mrs. Couple getting married, because that will work better. So it is worth, when you have a site visit, you should hopefully always have a site visit with your main structure provider if you're having one, or at your venue, because it's the same sort of conversation, and work with them so they can understand what you're going to do and what you're having, so they can share their expertise, because ultimately they're the subject matter experts.
I think that goes across all of your main supply. You don't need to get your dance floor company to come in and see the spot in which they're going to be. But if you have any kind of supplies whatsoever, your food people, for example, might want to know about your bar company, because sometimes they can cross and work together. As long as everybody knows your big picture of what you're intending for your day, it's much easier for people to get some understanding of your needs. They might put, like Alan just said, extra suggestions in. Your bar company might offer to get the glass hire. They would do that anyway, but the catering company might offer to, if you're having your own bar, might be able to help you with bar stuff for the evening. We did that for our wedding.
It's always worth a chat.
Chat through what you're doing, chat through what you need, chat through what other things are going on, because you might also find that a particular kind of caterer can't be next to something else. There are lots of things. Let them know your plan, what you're putting on the ground, because they might have some little nuggets of information. Don't forget, wedding suppliers are that they work on weddings. They do this weekend after weekend after weekend. Although it's the first time you're doing it, hopefully. This is hopefully we say that because obviously some people,
not hopefully. No.
That's the wrong word. I apologise for that. Yeah. Not hopefully, but this could be the first time you're doing things. Therefore, just use their expertise. This might be brand new to you, but they probably have seen something similar to it at one point. They know what they're doing, so just speak to them about what you need.
Right, I think that's okay for that. As always, any any specific question, detail, feel free. Apologies, everyone. I don't know why we're not with it, but any specific questions or detail you would like, feel free to ask in the group.
Absolutely.
Feel free to ask us on live here, or it's like I say, we cover everything in the planning session.
And we are off to part 2 of our awesome friend's wedding this weekend.
Yes, we are.
So we had part 1 last week, which was nice. It was child-free for us. We had a registry office followed by a lovely lunchtime meal.
I always smile when we say things like child-free, but I absolutely just miss them to bits. Anyway, keep going.
I don't know, we had a meal from start to finish.
No, that was nice.
And we had a lovely meal. And
without snot on my shoulder.
We are part 2 on Saturday, so we are helping with the setup in the morning. We are getting ready, getting our glad rags on, and we are at somewhere in the New Forest in the afternoon, having a lovely shindig.
We are. So let's just go back to our competition.
So yeah, the Dorset Wedding Festival.
Don't give it away yet. Go.
The Dorset Wedding Festival is an awesome.
That's the crowd. The
crowd's going wide.
Crowd's going wild.
Podcasters right now are going, my ears are burning.
No, the podcasters are going, wow, have they got a massive crowd clapping with them?
The Dorset Wedding Festival.
No, it was just me, podcasters.
Has been running for several years now. It is an amazing wedding festival event. So it runs for the entire day.
Is there a plethora of suppliers there?
Oh, there are a plethora of suppliers there. All outdoors. All we've got street food there. There are tents there are florists there are outdoor bar companies there's going to be live music throughout the day, there's going to be food, there's going to be everything going on, and it's run by South Coast Events, and Sam Savage, the lovely organizer, does a sterling job every single year. We're actually going to go down, aren't we? We're not exhibiting, but we are going to go down for a little bit of a nose,
take
because
some
we
pictures,
like to go
do some videos. And what I was going to say is I've seen a vast amount of chat in a lot of the Facebook wedding groups at the moment about wedding fairs, and I think it's fair to say there is a lot of shall I go with peaks and troughs or rough and smooth?
Rough and smooth.
There's a lot of rough and smooth with wedding fairs at the moment. And we've been chatting to a few suppliers. We're trying to work out exactly what's going on, what's changing, what's evolving. But what we do know about the Dorset Wedding Festival, that exactly like a lot of the more established long-running wedding fairs, because they are long-running, they've got a fantastic quality suppliers who are turning up to them because they know their reputation, they know they're trustworthy, and they're turning up there. Now, I'm not saying all the rest aren't any of that, but there clearly seems to be some kind of challenge in the wedding fair world at the moment. But these long established ones like the Dorset Wedding Festival,
it's because they get to handpick their suppliers a little bit more, because they want to have the best of the best at their event. So like the one I went to last weekend at the Bridal Bazaar UK one, where was it, Northington last week, that was again it's a long established business. They have the cream of the crop. So
it allows them to, I don't even know if it's cream of the crops the right phrase, but it allows them to work on their craft and then be able to deliver it. So if you've done it 7 years in a row, you've learned it. Or if you're doing your first wedding fair, then there may be something you haven't quite taken into consideration.
What I'm really liking about the ones that we've been to recently, and the one we're talking about today, is the fact that it's just not just your standard table in a hall with a white tablecloth with someone standing with a leaflet trying to badger you.
But they have their place.
No, they do have their place. But I have found them, as a bride myself at one point, they're just quite not scary, that's the wrong word, but when you're not good with confrontation or talking to someone new.
Well, then it also depends on why you're at the wedding fairs, haven't we? We've discussed this before, that we reckon there's 2 or 3 different types of bride who are there.
But what these types of wedding fairs that we've been going to recently have been showing is they are more of a showcase of their expertise and what they can do, and they are examples of table styling and bars in situ and music being played, and it's not just a white table with someone giving you a leaflet wanting to talk to you around, giving you all their information. You can see it. It's
a bit more of a see and feel, isn't it?
You get that whole experience of what that person's about, and I really enjoy that. So if you are finding things like that, do give them a go, because it's nice to see really what that supply can do in a short time.
So that's the Dorset Wedding Festival. We're giving away a couple of tickets. We're going to launch that competition hasta la mañana tomorrow, for anyone who's not fluent Spanish. I'm not fluent Spanish. So we're going to launch that tomorrow morning, and we will, please come and say hello if you see us there. That one, we had that, don't we, now, bizarrely. We've been in wedding fairs and people have said hello. It's a bit bizarre, but there we go. But please do. And
do make sure that you sign up to module 1 of the planning sessions.
It's free.
It's free, and if you learn something and you want to learn more, then you can obviously look at the other 5 modules after that, but there is no time. Module 1's just there for you.
So link to the competition when we launch it tomorrow. I'll go back in and put it retrospectively, because this goes out obviously now, and then post goes out tomorrow morning, but we will link to the competition in here. I will link to Dorset Wedding Festival, so if you don't want to enter the competition or you don't win, then you can just go down and have a look. I'll link to them. What else have we talked about? Layouts. Can't link to layouts, but I will link to getting module 1 for free, because it's a separate page on the website. You should be able to find it, but if you can't, we'll link to that.
On that note, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time. Hopefully less tired than we are this week.
I didn't think we were tired when we started, but it seems to have, as we've gone on, we've got our words wrong and everything. Podcasters, thank you for listening. No, I'm not saying bye yet. Podcasters, thank you for listening. YouTubers, thank you for watching, and everyone else, thank you very much. Like us, subscribe us, comment, reviews, and all of the fab stuff. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry if anyone just noticed that.
Bye.